shared it on X. So let me see if I can get X up and share that. It is unbelievable. It's basically well, let me get it. So I don't want to screw it up. So I'll talk about it and I won't say it right. So hopefully I got it on X. I know I was sharing it everywhere else. So let's see. Is it there? Come on. Maybe I have it on Facebook. So it is basically a massive share where we're seeing that recent plane that went down just recently, FedEx plane tied to 9/11, all kinds of crazy stuff. Hopefully I got it. Oh my God. Maybe I should just move on. I'll just have it ready for next show, but it's stunning. It's a stunning reveal. I'm not seeing it in Facebook, so either. It's one of those things where, you think you share it to some places and then you find out later you share it someplace else. Because I got so many different things going on. So, but is that it? Nope. Got it. So it's going to be very, very interesting to reveal this one, guys, because you're going to love it. All right, here we go.
Crash that just happened and 9/11, I didn't believe it until I fact checked it, and it is completely real. Listen to this. This is an image of Dick Cheney watching the September 11th attacks. He passed away November 4th. So he was the VP during 9/11. Now, on the FBI's website, they state that 2,976 people were unalived on September 11th. What at first could be a coincidence. What at first could be a coincidence is that the UPS plane crash that just happened was flight 2976. But there's more. So on the same day that Dick Cheney passes away, November.
So of course I'm sharing this with you on 11/11. So thank you to all your veterans out there. I know a lot of you guys have been saying thank you for my service, but my service has not stopped. All right, so I am still serving. My life is still threatened. I feel in some cases that I am under or have been under more threat. Sharing this stuff on social media than I ever did when I was in the military or working in the CIA in combat zones. It's crazy. Right? So, yes, thank you so much, everyone that has expressed your gratitude. So my gratitude goes back to you for tuning in and staying informed.
For 4th, we have 2,976 people who passed away during 9/11. We have flight 2976 that.
All right, so 2,976 people died, and we have a flight 2976. Wow. So it's like they script this narrative for us. It's like we're living in a movie. So, we've heard the thing a lot, and some people get really irritated when you say, enjoy the movie, get lots of popcorn, get your popcorn. It's not like it's being done by the good guys. It's being done by the bad guys, and it's constantly happening. All right. So, but calling it out and pointing it out is very, very important so that we understand their game. And when you diss them and like meme them and laugh at them, they hate that. So that's why you should do it a lot.
Just crashed. That alone could just be a coincidence. I know there's no such thing, but let's just put that out there. But here's where it gets crazy. The model of the plane is the McDonnell Douglas MD-11. That was the plane that crashed. That was retired from passenger service 11 years and 9 days before it just crashed on November 4th, 9/11. And as of today, 9 perished and 11 injured in the UPS cargo plane crash that just happened. And then here's the cherry on top. The night that happened, Donald Trump tweets, "And so it begins," which is a famous quote From Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
So how much of our reality is scripted and planned?
I bet you if you type this in, not that you should use ChatGPT, but if you did, hey chat, what's the odds between this, and that all happening and these connections between them? It's probably 1 in several trillion. It is extremely unlikely to be an accident. Now, this kind of reminds me of the kindergarten class that was being, told to say with certain words, to spell out certain words, that George Bush was sitting in the class and they got the kids to read out plane, steel, beam, tower. Do you remember that? And then he got the call that was famously, they got the picture of him. Oh shit, there was an attack. This just gives me, I don't know, man. Absolutely shocking. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
All right. It's an altered reality. We live it, right? We live in it on an altered and basically managed reality. So that's what we're in right now. And one of those altered and managed realities could be coming from the universe. So the universe, you're like, well, is it scripted from the universe? You got to start looking at everything like this now, guys. So it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. So we're about to get a shock wave that's going to hit the earth, and we need to be prepared for it.
There is a lot going on. There's a shock wave that's already interacted with the Earth following the large X-class solar flare that came right out of this sunspot and active region right here. Here's the sunspot that's been throwing a fit off and on for the last couple of weeks. When it was behind the sun, we saw evidence of what appeared to be a possible CME that came off the backside of the sun, moving at over 5 million miles per hour. That is nearly Carrington speed. The Carrington event of 1859 is the largest solar flare in CME ever recorded.
All right, so the largest coronal mass ejection ever recorded basically knocked out all of the telegraph wires. That was like their internet back then, right? So is this going to disrupt our satellites, internet, cell phone, TVs, you name it? There won't be any popcorn eating because all that stuff be gone, right? So it'll be back to like tiddlywinks and playing cards. So I don't know. You guys just be aware that we have some very powerful storms that are coming. We've talked about this for years. I've said more recently that I really, really, really feel that this stuff is coming. And it's getting very, very close. And here we are.
Looking at an event right here, you just saw a full halo. That right there you just saw that looked like snow is a proton storm that's currently got the Earth engulfed in charged particles. That storm is underway. We're about to enter a possible strong geomagnetic storm following 3 X-class solar flares that all sent CMEs flying through space headed towards the Earth. And here's a graph over here at the Parker spiral. Let me show you what's going on. The yellow dot is the sun. The green dot is the Earth. The moving waves, the activity you see between the Earth and the sun, those are the CMEs. And you can see what's called a cannibal CME right in here. Let me show you where it's at. Here I put an arrow pointing right towards the cannibal CME.
The cannibal CME. Wow, that's quite a name. So these, as you guys can see, one burst out from the sun, and then another one burst out with much more power. So it's catching up to the first one, and they're sandwiching together, and they're going to hit at the same time. And then we had this coronal mass ejection, which is going to catch both of them and hit the Earth, all of them simultaneously. Oh, that's going to stir things up.
Basically, this is what's going on. The CME right here is moving much faster than the large CME in front of it. It's going to join with the larger CME. They're both going to impact the Earth at around the same time. When they do, like they did back in April of this year, It created a very long duration, strong G4 geomagnetic storm. Auroras were sent way down into the lower latitudes. That could happen again. You can see this big spike right here. That is a forecasted prediction of the plasma density associated with the cannibal CME situation. So we could see a large scale event here within the next 24 to 36 hours. The Ovation Prime. This is a graph right here that represents the Aurora Borealis and how far they could dip down into the southern latitudes. And don't be surprised if some of these auroras dip down into Kentucky, southern Missouri, quite possibly northern Arkansas, Texas, maybe even deeper than that. So a lot.
Maybe even deeper than that. So many of us may be seeing Aurora Borealis. I've been up into Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I saw them up there. Spectacular in the summertime, many years ago. I was doing a course up there, teaching tracking and intuitive skills and remote viewing and all that kind of crazy stuff. So it is possibly going to be seen by a good portion of America. Now, right now we have an iguana apocalypse that's happening in Florida. That's right. Iguana apocalypse, which is basically what that means is when it gets really cold, which is happening now in Florida, 30, 32-degree temperatures deep down into Florida right now. You have the iguanas, which hang out in the trees. They basically freeze, not completely freeze, but they can't move anymore because all their blood, because they're reptiles. And so their blood gets centralized and they can't move their muscles. So they collapse and they fall out of the trees. So iguana apocalypse, that's what they call it. Poor iguanas. That's right. Hellbent. So that's, they recover though. It warms up, the sun comes out and it warms them up and then they scurry around again. So, but it is kind of interesting. I've never seen it myself, but I've seen it talked about quite some time. All right, so crazy stuff happening. Crazy stuff. Mike said that there was going to be winter would come early this year, and it definitely is. All right, so lots of craziness out there, and the craziness is not going to stop anytime soon. All right, so this craziness, I think, is going to continue for the next couple of years. So the Carrington event of 1859 was the most intense geomagnetic storm recorded in history, caused by a massive solar flare and coronal mass ejection from the sun. It resulted in spectacular auroras visible far beyond the polar regions and caused significant disruptions to telegraph systems on Earth. So expect, significant, disruptions going forward. Now, let's look at, what the experts say. All right. What do the experts say? Do solar flares or magnetic storms, space weather, cause earthquakes? All right. Can you predict earthquakes? No. Can animals predict earthquakes? Well, they didn't quite say no, but kind of said no. But of course, we know animals are very in tune and they scurry away or get crazy just before earthquakes. So watch your animals. Can megaquakes really happen like a magnitude 10 or larger? No. All right. You guys are like on thin ice there. All right. Can the ground open up during an earthquake? Yes. I didn't say yes, but shallow crevices can form during earthquakes. Will California eventually fall into the ocean? No. So there you go, guys. Don't worry. California will not fall into the Pacific, right? Although many psychics in the past have said yes, but the experts say no. So, all right. So don't worry. It's no problem. So the Great Midwest Earthquake of 1811. So here's the experts again. You can trust your government. Ask any Indian. They'll tell you can trust their government. 200 years ago, a series of powerful tremblers devastated what is now Missouri, could it happen again? So they say no, it was a freak event. So the screams of their frightened inhabitants running to and fro, not knowing where to go or what to do, the cries of the fowls and beasts of every species, the cracking of trees falling, formed a scene truly horrible. So the Mississippi River actually reversed, caused lots of flooding. So each New Madrid earthquake had a magnitude of 7.5 or greater, maybe a 10, right? So the first one struck on January 23rd, and February 7th was the second. So they talk about, these big, disasters and so forth. And it said the Midwest was sparsely populated and deaths were few, but 8-year-old Godfrey Lesueur saw the ground rolling in waves like a great loaf of bread to the height of many feet, right? So thousands of fissures ripped open fields. Like USGS said that, yeah, it could happen. But here we have accounts of thousands of fissures, ripped open fields, and geysers burst from the earth, spewing sand, water, and mud and coal high into the air. All right, so sand blows tell a dramatic story. So they said geologists once assumed that the 1811-12 disaster was a one-time event and little cause for concern for the people. So again, you can trust the government, ask any Indian, right? So then 2 decades ago, so this was well over 100 years, almost 150, 60, 70, 80, whatever, 200 years ago, 200 years later, they say, expert Mortitia Tuttle and her colleagues began dissecting sand flows in the 5 states surrounding New Madrid. The sand blows were left by geysers when debris surged up through narrow dikes and landed in wide mounds. Sand blows tell a dramatic story of the widespread shaking of these large earthquakes. So they excavated potsherds, spear points, and corn kernels, and realized that many of the sand blows were more than 200 years old. Oh, so it wasn't just a one-time freak event. Some had archaeological sites on top of them with 2,000-year-old artifacts. There's no way the New Madrid earthquakes were a one-time freak event, Tuttle says. The Midwest had been slammed by violent earthquakes around AD 1450 and 900 and 2350 BC, and probably more often. So if the government says that you do not have to worry, then you need to worry, right? Pretty much, right? So are we heading towards some significant earthquake events? Pretty much. All right, so now Dutch Sense, a lot of you guys have been following Dutch Sense like I have for, I don't know, a long time, 10 years, maybe eight years at least. And he's very accurate, very skilled, but he doesn't have a degree, so they discount his information. Although his information has been very, very good. In fact, it's so good that they often, take his videos down, kind of like they used to do mine, right? Let's listen.
So these charged particles come in and scuff their feet across the magnetosphere and further all the way in towards the Earth's upper ionosphere. And as the charged particles scuff their feet across the Earth's atmosphere or ionosphere, you get northern lights, a buildup of charge. That builds up electric up in the upper ionosphere. It starts to glow, air glow. You get the northern lights and the southern lights. Now that electricity goes down into the ground, ultimately. And the ground isn't just the ground, it's the core of the Earth in this case. So we're talking about a boat.
All right, so the electricity, all right, the energy goes down into the ground, right? Very important point.
Energy coming in, and it gets dumped into the magnetosphere, which then takes it down into the core of the Earth. And within a couple days of the arrival of the solar storm, or even less, in the same day, when the solar storm arrives, when the charged particles arrive, we tend to see a new beat of the drum come up from down below the plates, down in the core of the Earth. And electroplasma in the core of the Earth, like lightning times a billion, a trillion. I don't really know. It's somewhere between a billion and a trillion, let's just say. And so we have lightning coming up from the core of the Earth, electro, and it comes up to the underside of the plate, hammering in with a very low frequency. And that then gets us into, is there an earthquake?
All right. So all this energy that's coming at us is going to go into the Earth. It's already into the Earth. The Earth is already active. So it's like we have a fire going on in the Earth, and we're going to throw some serious nitroglycerin, it's like propane, gas, and coal, and so everything. We're dumping it all. We're dumping it all in there. And what do you think is going to happen? All right. So this is what we have coming.
After solar storms. Yes. And we can see big earthquake activity. Now that gets into the other part of this. I was clicking on my homepage. I'm not going to do that now, but I saw there were warnings from other researchers saying that there's a potential of a megaquake taking place in Japan. Now, I'm not going to dispute that at all. Japan has been moving. It went up to 6.8 just a day and a half ago. We went to 6 yesterday. And so we're flirting between 6 and 6.8 already on the coast of Japan. Then down to the south, 5.1, 4.9, and up to the north, 4.9, 5.4. So it's two of the same sized earthquakes equidistantly spaced out across the plate boundary, which is not even evenly spaced. Let's go over to the USGS plate boundary map and show you what I'm talking about here. So other researchers warning for a megaquake to take place. When I hear megaquake, I hear 8+. Like, that's just what I think of when I think of megaquake. It's not a definitive term for anything. So just a very large earthquake is what's being called for by other researchers. And I would say we need to watch it. Additionally, I mean, I'm not going to dispute them.
Okay. So remember, the government agency, USGS, says that you cannot predict earthquakes, right? Especially big earthquakes. And there can never be a 10.0 or 10 earthquake, right? So we'll see.
On this, that when we get 6.8 level activity going in the last day, along here, you see the H-shaped plate boundary here. It goes up to the north, up to Kamchatka, and it goes down to the south, all the way down to Guam, where our earthquake struck yesterday. Kamchatka broke 2.5, 3 months ago with an 8.0 right up here at Kamchatka. So this whole region has been in flux for 3 months. And now we have this taking place off the coast of Japan, 90 miles away from where the megaquake struck back in 2011. 90 miles south of here, where the current earthquake swarm is, right here, is where the 9.0 struck back on March 11th of 2011. And in the days leading up to the March 11th, 2011 megaquake in Japan, there was X-class flare activity coming off the western limb of the sun, the right side of the sun, somewhat like what we're seeing now in 2025. Earth-facing X-class flare with large CME and shock wave that goes out. So what are we going to look for here? I'm going to look for the next step up. We're already at 6.8. So the next step up for us means up to a magnitude larger. That takes us up to near 7.8 level activity. And then we can further reduce our areas to watch by finding the halfway points between our current earthquakes. And this gets into earthquake forecasting. If you want to know how to do your own earthquake forecasting, the directions are already out there. And I even shared a video this week from a different channel that's not related at all. They're doing audio acoustic sound wave tests, but these are small particles of styrofoam in a container where they're testing in a Kunst tube audio waves. But this same phenomenon is happening across thousands of miles with a very low frequency. So a very low frequency, you get the weak portion of the wave spreads out at a great distance. So it doesn't just end at the end of a Kunst tube, for instance, in a laboratory. But here, We're spreading out across a distance from Taiwan up to Kamchatka and over to Alaska. Same way, we're going down to the south across the plate boundary down towards Philippines. Let's go back over to the...
All right. So this is where Dutch gets into his forecasting, which has been extremely accurate in the past. Not perfect, but I would say he's in the 80, 90 percentile, right? So he's not necessarily intuitive, but he uses his own science that he's developed over time, which has worked extremely well. And then, of course, we have other experts that do have backgrounds in the science and give us information, like Stefan Burns. So one of the things that we have seen more recently, just over the last, several months, and then more recently, just a couple of days ago, is Kilauea volcano has been really becoming more and more and more active.
I say this as a geologist and volcanologist. What you are looking at are twin 1,100-foot or 335-meter-high lava fountains produced at the summit of Hawaii's Kilauea volcano on November 9, 2025. These dual vents were located in the southwestern segment of its summit caldera and erupted a truly stunning amount of lava. During the 297 minutes it continuously erupted for, enough lava was erupted every 5.3 seconds to hypothetically fill a full Olympic-sized swimming pool.
All right. So every 5 seconds is filling an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Whatever. Right. So now imagine that magnified, I think, probably coming for a lot of these volcanoes around the world on a much more massive scale. Right. So one of those that I've been predicting is going to go supernova is Camp Flegrei. So let's look at what's going on. So this could be it, guys. This new energy coming in could kick off Japan and could cook off Camp Flegrei.
Flegrei volcano update, guys. I have been suspecting it, and now we have the confirmation. The new INGV weekly bulletin is out, and the measurements are accelerating, guys. The supervolcano in Naples, in Italy, is showing signs of accelerated unrest. And what will that mean, guys? We've talked about the ground uplift quite a lot in my recent videos, and I urge you to watch my last video about the new study that tells us what the earthquakes are doing with the volcano and how they weaken the crust, not by just shaking. There's something else going on because there is a different type of earthquakes going on. And what we've heard now from the bulletin plays right into that and makes the whole thing a little bit more concerning. So that video is in the end screen, but let's get to what really has happened. The ground uplift at Camp Flegrei has accelerated more strongly than anticipated.
So this ground uplift has been going on for not quite a year, but it's been accelerating, and you're going to see she's going to give you a graph of that acceleration and how it's really lifting it so high that the port in Camp Flegrei is dry because the ground has lifted so much. So this has happened in a lot of other areas. When I was in Turkey, some of the old Roman cities, the ground uplifted, and they stopped being functional and people moved away, right? But they were once massive major cities. So will this just be an uplift, or will this be like the Naples explosion of energy coming out and ash and so forth? I think we're going to see an explosion, right? So the cap over Camp Flegrei, there's volcanic, one area that has a lot of magma under it is starting to crack from the pressure. So we're getting close to this thing blowing.
So they have corrected their data compared to the last bulletin, where the ground uplift was set to have raised from 1.5 centimeters a month to 2 centimeters a month. But now it is 2.5 centimeters a month. And you might think, well, what are you talking about? This is just a few millimeters in a hole of just a few inches. Guys, Look at this. This is the Medusa station with the tide gauge that is measuring the unrest, and it's measuring the land rise. And you can see over the years how that has accelerated. We're approaching 1.60 meters. That's why the port of Pozzuoli is running dry. There's no water in there because the land is rising. This is significant. And guys, we had the unrest in May 2024, where the land rise had accelerated, and in February, March, where we had that seismic crisis at Campi Flegrei, non-stop earthquakes in the higher magnitude, 4.6.
All right, so that puppy is getting ready to blow. So if it gets a little bit more pressure and energy, which seems to be coming right now, and this might not be the only one. This could, invigorate it more, make some more vents pop open, a little bit of volcanic seepage or so forth. And then we're going to get more and more and more. This is not going to stop, right? We're moving into a period where you look back into history, these periods have come, and you have the poles that are going to wander. The poles are wandering like crazy right now. And who knows, maybe they're going to reach another point, another level. Now, if you look at Siberia over the last, several decades, they've actually had woolly mammoths. So the woolly mammoth during the last cataclysmic event 12,000 years ago, when the ice age ended, all right, so all through this ice age, you have all these massive woolly mammoths that make the African elephant look like a little child, right? They're massive. And so they're all over the place. They're in North America. We have woolly mammoths. We have Siberian tigers with those great big teeth, right? They end up hammered. Massive numbers of them, along with trees and everything, get slammed into canyons for miles. Oh, that's just normal. That's just normal, right? So the woolly mammoths in Siberia, they're starting to thaw over the last several decades and more, like 50, 60 years. This has been ongoing. They have thawed out. They've been frozen. They were flash frozen. They still had these flowers, bluebells or something they used to eat. They're undigested in their bellies. So that's how fast they were killed. So imagine you having a woolly mammoth that's larger than an elephant, and imagine the bone structure on that massive animal. Their legs were snapped, and they were hammered, and then they were flash frozen. So they've actually been able to go in and dissect them and see all this stuff and take the meat as if they went to, like you and I, who have a couple of steaks I'm going to eat after the show, that were in the freezer. Took them out, thawed them, and they're going to go on the grill. But they were able to take these woolly mammoth meat and eat it from 12,000 years ago. So, hello, we have cataclysmic events here on Earth, and we need to be prepared, right? So why would they not let us know this? Why would they suppress information, which they're doing right now? Why would they do that? Because they are a death cult, and they want to kill us, like the Georgia Guidestones. Remember, 500 million, right? We have like close to 8 billion people on Earth now. That's a lot of people going bye-bye, right? And of course, with the vaccination, they're still vaccinating. They're doing boosters along with the flu shot now, and people are having to call in to get in line. And people are dying in a massive level. So it's crazy. So in Nebraska, where Sheila Holm is from, she was talking about, she told, like all of us, we told our friends, relatives, and so forth, don't get the vaccination. Well, she said in Nebraska, they went big. So in Nebraska, they have a lot of farmers which aren't able to farm the land anymore because they're dead from taking all the vaccines and the flu shots. They're still lining up for them. So Sheila and I talked about this. Al, my wife has been telling me this. There's a biblical passage where two men will walk in the field. At one point, one will be there and one will be completely gone, disappear, right? So this has also happened throughout time where cultures and groups of people have just disappeared. Are those of us that are enlightened and raising our vibrational consciousness, are we going to soon disappear from this craziness? I think there's a possibility, guys. So anyway, so stay focused. Don't give up hope. Maybe we're just going to create a new Earth. I've heard from a guy that I think it's called 44 Hours, where he died and came back, and Jesus talked to him, and he said that he's not going to, when there's destruction that's happening now on Earth, he's not going to come and refurbish Earth. He's going to create a new Earth, right? So you need to be aware of that. Don't give up hope. I've seen a lot of chat where people says, I just don't care anymore. It's like, okay, you're not going to come to the new Earth, all right? So it's like you're not going to be part of the team then. So we want everybody to get involved in this, guys. So stay focused. Don't lose hope. I think there's going to be some major positive events that are going to come in the future. So just stay with the program. Don't give up, right? Look at that sky back there. Somebody told me that yesterday when I was outside doing the show, they went super fast forward and the sky was like changed. I got to go back and look at that. That must have been pretty cool. So now here is Stefan Burns. Stefan Burns is, I think, one of the leading, revealers of excellent information. So let's listen. So I posted this on my X account when it came out. I'm just like tapped into him, right? So within minutes after he released this, is 5 hours ago now, I was posting on my X account.
I'm Stefan Burns here. We just had a 5.1 X-class flare blast off from the sun just a few hours ago. Boom! Shakalaka. That is the 6th largest solar flare that we've had in this solar cycle 25. Months ago, I was talking about how this fall we would very likely see a second peak in solar activity. That confirms it. That launched a colossal coronal mass ejection towards Earth that is expected to hit us in less than 24 hours. The initial velocity estimate on this is about 1,850 kilometers per second. You do the math, Earth and the sun are 150 million kilometers apart. And well, what you get is about 22 hours for that transit time. Now, there are already 2 solar storms in front of this one that are about to hit us and expected about less than 12 hours. And the first one launch was the slowest. The second one was faster. This is the fastest. It's a perfect situation for a pancake where one solar storm catches up to the other, which then catches up to the other one after that. So that is the situation that we have right now. And likely we're going to get a triple sequence where we get the first one to come in, then we get a bigger shock to follow, and then this third shock should really send us into a pretty crazy geomagnetic.
All right. So I'm putting this, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to stop the share so it will come out a little bit better. So Tammy Cooney said, be careful what you focus on. We create what we focus on. Observe, don't absorb. So excellent advice. Very good, Tammy. So, and a lot of people go crazy interpreting that and get a little funky with it. But really, that's what it is. You can look at your life. Whatever you have manifested in your life is what you have focused on. And you're like, well, I didn't want to focus on like losing all my money and being poor and stuff. Well, sounds like maybe you did, because I've been in those situations, and I know when you're in that situation, it's a gift. It's a gift for you to observe, don't absorb, and learn from that experience, and then go to higher levels, right? So wherever you're at in life is a result of your focus, right? So keep that in mind as we share this information. There's a lot of very sketchy people out there that come in and make really crazy comments in chats and so forth. Don't get sucked into that, right? Just observe this. You know, I put it out. Do you see me like, no, it's like dumb. Like, why would I be like that? Right. So I've been in combat zones. All the guys that have that kind of attitude are dead. Right. So everybody pretty much going to be in combat zones going forward. All right. So and I know some of you are hearing that and you're going, we're going to be combat. Yeah. So yeah, what you focus on. Right. So observe, don't absorb. Right. Now, what do you want to absorb? Beauty, peace, serenity, love from your fellow human beings, all right? From your animals, from your plants, all right? I have all that. I look at this. I look at the sky back there, and it's like, oh, this is so beautiful. I live in such a beautiful place. I'm gonna eat amazing, beautiful meat soon. So, thank you, cows that gave your life so that I may live. All right, so you have to observe and not absorb, guys. All right. So excellent advice from Tammy. I saw that just come across the chat. I was like, oh, you got to share that one. Good one. All right. Moving forward.
And as a result of that, we're likely to see G4 conditions. I would not be surprised if we get a G5 geomagnetic storm within the next 2 days. I think we're almost certainly guaranteed
Now, the G5 is the one that basically is going to shut down a lot of stuff, right? So it comes in, it's energy. It's electrical energy, plasma, and so forth. It's going to come in, and it's going to hit our electric grid system, satellites, cell phone towers, all that stuff's going to get wacky, right? I don't know. I don't think we're going to get a Carrington event where all of our, information is going to get fried. It could, but I don't think so. So I don't think it's that strong, but it's going to have an effect. There's going to be disruptions. Absolutely going to be disruptions. How severe those are remains to be seen.
Preconditions. That's a strong geomagnetic storm. I'm putting the probability of G4 conditions at probably like 80%. And a G5 storm, I'd say it's probably about a 50% chance that we get a G5 storm, maybe even like 55, 60%. I think the combination of these solar storms 1, 2, and 3, with this new one being very fast and very strong, this being a very special event that just occurred on the sun, I think we're looking at almost certainly G4 conditions. Probably, I think the majority percentage is G5.
All right. So, yeah, it's just information. You do with it what you will. Don't get all funkified by it. It is, just information. It's information that could, help you if you're prepared for it. If you're not prepared for it, like for us, Tracy went out and got more, propane, got another propane tank. I have, battery powers. I can solar, energize them because this window behind me, the sun comes through there during the day and it is super intense. So I could battery power some of the things that, like the fridge or whatever needs to be, kept online. Although if we get the storms, which we're supposed to be getting starting Wednesday night into Thursday, a series of storms, which I said were going to come, then we'll probably get a lot of snow, right? So Tracy telling me there's no snow till Sunday now. We'll see, right? So there's like a warming trend, and then there's going to be a cooling trend, but there's going to be waves. Like I've been predicting, wave after wave after wave after wave after wave of storms are going to be coming across from the Pacific, coming across, and from here all the way into the Colorado mountains. We're going to see a lot of snow, right? So for skiers, it's great. I'm going to get my skis out this year. I'm going to get back into skiing. That's going to be great. Looking forward to it. So again, maybe the grid's down, but I'm going to be out skiing. Right? So just I got plenty of food, got plenty of stuff backed up. I got battery power, got kerosene heater.